Terzak brought his culinary magic to Clearwater's Harborview Center in March of 1997. Prior to that, he owned and operated Metro Catering Company in Tampa, but Chef Terzak's experience reaches far outside the Tampa Bay area. He was executive chef at the American Stanhope Hotel on 5th Avenue in New York, and Gordon's, one of Chicago Magazine's top 10 restaurants in the Windy City. He owned 5 restaurants in Chicago. Among them, Terzak's, Chameleon, Ketchup, and Tamales. He's also consulted for top-rated restaurants in Florida, Virginia, Chicago, and New York. Chef Terzak studied culinary arts at Dumas Père School of French Cooking in Glenview, Illinois, and was acknowledged by Food and Wine magazine as one of the top 60 chefs in America. For years, he hosted the cable TV series Great American Cookout, but now he's the host of What's Cooking, Harborview?
Hi. Welcome to another edition of What's Cooking, Harborview. Now today, we got a really special menu. We've got 4 things that you're going to love. These are all favorite recipes of mine. The first one is kind of a chinois, which is French-Chinese thing called shrimp toast. And then we're going to do a goat cheese salad. And then we're going to do a grilled, breaded filet of sole with remoulade sauce and roasted spaghetti squash. And then finally, we're going to do the chocolate and vanilla creme brulee, which you're going to love. But we're going to start you out with the shrimp toast. Now, by the way, the recipes will all be following after the show, so you don't have to pay too close attention. You can get them off our website, too. So we're going to start out by using our food processor. You need a food processor fitted with the steel blade, and you put your shrimp in there, and you put your 1 egg in there, and you put a teaspoon and a half of powdered ginger, and you put a teaspoon, give or take, a little bit of dry sherry, and your salt and pepper you can add afterwards. You got to get that salt and pepper in there. Okay, just sprinkle that in there and a little bit of kosher salt. See, the beauty of this dish is it's got all the things you want. It's got shrimp and it's got fried, so you're already hooked, number one. And then with all that good seasoning in there, can't beat it. All right, now we'll take this puppy off in there, and we'll get it into our mixing bowl. Now we'll add our water chestnuts to it that we diced up. Mix them in there. And just check that. Make sure it has enough salt in it, which it doesn't. Now, you just spread this on the bread. I'm going to make 2 slices. This little batch here makes about 4 slices, though. Oop. You don't want it too thick in the middle, because when you fry it, you want the shrimp to be able to get cooked, but you don't want it to have to be in the fryer so long that the bread gets burnt in order to do that. So we'll spread that on there, just like that. Beautiful. Now we'll take these, and we'll put them back here in a little saute saucepan I've got with the oil in it for the fryer. All right, now first we want to make sure that your oil's not too hot, and you can test it out with a little piece of bread just to see if your bread's going to burn, because you want this oil around 350 to 375. This looks like just the right temperature. We got lucky. So we're just going to go right on ahead and put our shrimp toast right in there, face down now, you see. Let's see if we can do 2 at once here. There we go, perfect. Now what I usually do is I use the same oil over and over again. Now, after I get through cooking the shrimp toast, if I was at home, then I would put it away and take it out the next time I want to fry something. So I don't have to use all that oil and then waste it for one item. Now, We're going to cook this for about a minute and a half on the side with the shrimp facing down. All right, now while that's frying, I'm going to show you how to make a little garnish for it with a lemon, which is a lemon crown. Yeah. We're going to go diagonal points back and forth all the way through only to the center of the lemon, but not past that. Otherwise, you start cutting into your diagonal points on the other side. You don't want that. I cut the ends off of this so it'll lay flat on the plate instead of kind of rolling over. We don't want that. There we go. Now, boom. Now we'll just kind of set our plate up in advance here. So when our shrimp is done, we'll pop it in there. Put a little sprig of parsley on there. How about a big sprig of parsley? There you go. All right, now let's go back and tend to that toast. Turn it around real quick and see what's cooking there. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Yep, that's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. You'll notice that the sides of the bread here are getting brown, and that might be an indication to you as to when you need to flip it over. After you make it one or two times, you get a feel for it. Yeah, this is very, very Chinese, but kind of French too. Okay, I think that's about done on that one side. So we're going to flip these over. Get over there. We'll flip the other one over. Whoa, watch out. Don't do that. Okay. All right, here we go. Now the bread on this side is going to brown real quick. See how fast that's browning? So you got to keep an eye on that because you don't want burnt toast now. We're just going to hold that down underneath the grease a little bit too. Get that shrimp cooked a little more too while we're cooking the bottom. Let's take a peek at that again now. That's getting there. That's getting there. I'm going to give this about 10 more seconds. Then we're going to swing around the front and I'll show you how to get it on the plate. But first, before you get it on the plate, you want to do a little extra draining of it. And you just kind of boom. You don't want this to come off greasy. Put it on a napkin over here first. Okay, here we go. All right, now this is simple. You just cut the trim the crusts off. You know, quick story about this shrimp toast is the first time somebody made this for me. The only problem with this stuff is I ate so many of these hors d'oeuvres. I never got to eat my dinner because I was full. It really is tasty. And you take your hors d'oeuvres and kind of set them up in there. Got yourself a little pile of shrimp toast there. Now that is rock and roll right there. All right, we're back with the goat cheese salad. Now, the first thing we're going to do is cut the bacon up that goes in it and get that sauteing. Cut that up into kind of small pieces. And we're going to throw that bacon right in this hot saute pan we got back here. All right, now, while that's cooking, we're going to get our goat cheese croutons roasting in the oven. We take some piece of French baguette bread and slice it on an angle and spread the goat cheese on there like that. You need about 3 of these croutons per person. If you make this a big family style salad, which you can do on a bigger tray, you just consider to have about 3 per person, but I'm going to make one on an individual plate for you today. Now this goat cheese has got a little gray on it. That's because it's got ash on it. Because that's partly the way it's sold. It kind of looks like this in the store. Goat cheese is just delicious. All right, now we're going to throw this in the oven to roast real quick. We're going to sprinkle a little dried leaf thyme on there. Boom, there you go. Okay, now we got a little bit of frisee lettuce here and leaf lettuce on the plate already cleaned and washed. And we'll dice up a little tomato. We'll sprinkle that all over the salad. That's enough. Then we'll make some little onion rings. Cut them nice and thin so they cook real quick in the bacon. Now, let's see how that bacon's doing. That bacon is just about there. See there? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, now we'll take our onions. Just kind of mix them into the bacon there. You don't want the bacon completely crisp, but you want a little bit of soft on there too. Then you take your bacon and your warm onions and you put them all over the top, like so. Oh yeah, beautiful. Okay, now to make that Dijon mustard dressing, we take a little bit of Dijon mustard, put it in there. We'll take a little bit of garlic, a little bit of chopped shallots, a little bit of fresh basil, chopped up, a little bit of chopped parsley, and some olive oil. Extra virgin, of course, for that great olivey flavor. A little bit of red wine vinegar. We'll hit it with some fresh ground black pepper. This dressing's got a little bite to it, which is just what this salad calls for. A little bit of kosher salt. And give it a little mix up there. And taste it to make sure you got enough salt in there. Great. Give it a little taste. And we'll spoon some of this over the top of the salad. Like so. Now we've got all that dressing on there now. Dressing's got a nice little bite to it. Now we're going to swing around and grab those croutons. And, of course, with the miracle of television, because I baked these a little bit earlier, because you can't bake the croutons this fast. And boom, put them around there, like so. And just sprinkle a little more parsley on your salad. Voila, there you go. That is a delicious salad. Now in this sequence, we're going to make three things. A roasted spaghetti squash, which I have a half of here. They call it that because when you cut the threads out of the squash, it's a little bit like spaghetti. And then we're going to make grilled breaded filet of sole with remoulade sauce. So we're going to start by cleaning the seeds out of the squash and getting it roasting in the oven. Now, this takes about an hour and 15 minutes to roast, covered up with foil in the oven at about 400 degrees. Okay, now this is a very simple kind of dish, too. You're going to put your salt and pepper on the squash. And of course, we're going to smother it with butter, like usual. This is so nice and so easy to make. You don't have to do too much to it. Okay, there you go. I'm going to cover it with a little piece of aluminum foil because we don't want it to brown up too much in the oven. Okay, now we're going to toss that in the oven. And we'll let that cook for about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, the filet of sole. Or filet of flounder, or any fish that you want to use that's thin. Maybe the tail piece of a grouper, or any fish that you pound out a little bit, like a scallopini in between plastic wrap. Okay, I'm going to just cut the tips of the tails off of there. A little bit. Now we're going to season our fish with salt and pepper on both sides. This is a really beautiful fish, this sole. And it's perfect for this kind of dish because sole, like trouts and so on, are very bland fish. And they need a lot of things done to them to bring up a lot of flavor in them. Okay, now you got your flour, egg wash, and breadcrumbs. This particular technique you use for frying many things that are breaded. The item is first floured, then it's dipped in the egg. And you shake that loose a little bit. And then you bread it, pressing down on it a little bit. Oh, okay, there's one. One down, one to go. You could do your mushrooms like this. You can do your shrimp like this. You can do pieces of eggplant like this if you want, for frying or grilling. Okay. I usually use plain breadcrumbs because I'm not really fond of the seasonings that they put in some of the things in the supermarket. I figured I could season it myself if I needed to taste like something. All right, there you go. There's number 2. All right, now we're going to run this over to the grill and I'll show you how to grill this. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to baste it with some melted clarified butter first before we put it on the grill. And we're going to do that on the inside of the fish, not the skin side, because we're going to cook the inside of the fish first, face down on the grill, because that's the side we're going to serve face up on the tray. Now, boom, there we go. Put that on there like that. Now we'll baste the other side real quick so that when we turn this over, it'll already be buttered. And this is the technique you can impress your friends with, because every time you eat something breaded, it's usually fried or sauteed, but it's never grilled. And it creates that nice crispy kind of taste on the outside. So now we're going to make little crisscross marks on it, just like it was a steak, which takes only a moment. And then after we get our lattice grid marks on it, we'll move it over to the warm side. We'll let it finish cooking, and that takes only about 2 minutes. All right, that should be ready. Boom, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Now let's just throw a little bit extra butter on there, just because it's just going to make it taste that much better. We don't want to make it too soggy, though. We're going to reflip this again just to crisp it up, because you want it a little bit crispy, not wet. So now we'll make your lattice marks on the back side, too. This fish cooks so quickly, and you got to be careful that once it's cooked and you pick it up, you be careful it doesn't fall apart on you when you're moving it to your plate. Okay, let's see how that looks. See how that looks so good. All right, perfect. Now we're going to take our fish and move it over to the warm side of the grill to cook, and not the real hot side. Let's just check that out. Yep, that looks good. We're going to move them over there like that. Now we're going to run back over to the table and make the remoulade sauce real quick. And then we'll come back in 2 minutes after that's done cooking. Okay, here we go. The remoulade sauce. Very simple. You can use either commercial mayonnaise or homemade mayonnaise. And you put that in your bowl. And you mix a little bit of minced anchovies, a little bit of chopped parsley, some capers, a little bit of cooked hard-boiled eggs, a little pinch of garlic in there, and the juice from, say, a half a lemon. You don't want to get them seeds in there. And now, a little chives. Now, this is a beautiful chive plant right here. We're just going to snip some chives off of there. Put our chives right inside the remoulade sauce like that. There we go. And we're going to season that with a little pepper. You shouldn't need to put any salt in here because of the anchovies, you know. Now we'll mix this all up. Give that a little taste. Good. Okay, now that's done. We'll run and get the fish off the grill, and we'll bring that right back. Okay, this fish looks about like it's done, and you can tell just It just kind of breaks off. That's great. All right. It only took about 5 minutes total, maybe, to cook this fish. And you gotta be careful now because it's a little bit more tender now. See, there we go. Yeah, this looks really good. Boom. There we go. Okay. Now we'll bring that over and put the rest of that stuff on there. Okay. There's that beautiful fish. Now let's assemble this whole package and see what we got. First, we take the squash out of the oven. And we slide that onto a plate there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to drain that butter off of there. Now we're going to thread the spaghetti squash off of here like so. See? See how that comes out? It just looks just like linguine, huh? There we go. All right, here we go. We're gonna spread it around here on our plate. This is a really neat squash. Nature has its way of amazing us continuously with things like this. Okay, that should be enough. Now, let's get the rest of that squash around there. There we go. Now we'll just clean that up a little bit. Now we've got some confetti vegetables here that I mixed up, which is a combination of purple cabbage, red pepper, carrots, and chopped parsley. I'm going to sprinkle that all the way around there for some nice color. Isn't that pretty? I call this my confetti vegetables. You can kind of almost use this in the place of parsley on a lot of dishes. And we're going to surround this dish with some nice lemons that I cut into wedges. This is really, really nice. Really nice. Nice and homey. Okay, now we're going to put a little bit more chopped chives on here, on top of the fish. And we're going to put some remoulade sauce on here. Finally, we'll sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese over on top of the spaghetti squash. And if you're not watching your weight, you can sprinkle a little more melted butter over the whole thing, you know? There you go. Grilled breaded filet of sole.
Hi, I'm John LaChance, Food and Beverage Director here at the Harborview Center. If you enjoyed what you saw today, you can join Chef John in person for cooking classes. If you'd just like to enjoy our cuisine, you can call our sales department and book a room for your next function.
Okay, we're back with that delicious chocolate and vanilla creme brulee, which is totally to die for. First, we're going to make the custard, and that will involve separating 4 eggs, because all you're going to use here is the yolks. Now, some people use this old method, I kind of call it, which is the which is good, but it takes time and you don't get all the whites necessarily. But I just like to slip it through my fingers, boom, boom, boom. All right, we're going to cut that beautiful vanilla bean right down the middle. And we're going to scrape out the inside, because that's really the only part you use. And just zoom. And then the next piece. Boom. There you go. Now we'll take this and just dump it inside the custard back here. All right, so we'll put the sugar into the egg yolks and give that what they call a little creaming until they're nice and lemon colored. Like that. Okay. Now we'll take our hot cream, which I have 2 cups of back here, and we'll whisk it into the egg yolks. Like so. Now we have everything into the custard mix that we need. The only thing we have to do is just take a little bit of that foam off the top of there, because we don't want foam baking on top of our creme brulees. Let's get that excess off of there. Okay. Now, we'll take our chocolate and distribute it, chopped up, semi-sweet, not bitter, chopped up rather fine, because you want it to melt in the bottom of your creme brulee mold, so that when it's cold, it's still melted in part of the custard in the bottom. So when you eat this creme brulee and you get to the bottom, all of a sudden there's going to be this little chocolate surprise down there waiting for you. Okay. Now, we're going to take our hot water bath that we have here, and we're going to ladle the custards into the molds. Now these are kind of small, but then again, you don't need too much of this dessert. We'll just ladle those in there like that. That's nice. Nice, 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 nice. Boom. Okay. Now we're going to put that in the hot water bath. Whoop. Come back here, you. Now we're going to take a piece of parchment paper. We'll slap a little bit of butter on there. This will stick to the top of our custards. We're going to lay that right on top of those custards like that. Now we're going to stick this back in the oven. We're going to let that cook at 400 degrees until they're a little bit firm on top. But remember, this is a soft custard, not a hard custard. Now, I made one of these earlier so I could show you how this is finished in a little bit of a larger mold. Now here's where all the shtick and the fun comes in. You take a little bit of sugar, and you sprinkle it over the top of your creme brulee evenly. And if it's not even, then you can just kind of shake it even. All right, let's get that sugar on there nice and even. Let's turn it down just a touch. There you go. You don't want to scorch the sugar now, you just want to melt it. You don't want it blackening. There we go, it's done right there. Perfect. You set it on your thing, and it's going to harden up and eat. And that is the delicious chocolate vanilla creme brulee. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next month.